The Generation Cowboys and Sports Talk. My dad, my partner, my co-host, CowboyJoe64.
I am your father.
Just to get the Cowboys 2 good games to hopefully understand that they need to go receiver and go high with this next pick.
Yeah, that's really what this is gonna be about.
Are you looking live at Generation Cowboys and Sports Talk? I'm the host. I tell you what, join my co-host, my dad, CowboyJoe64, and we're back with another one. And he's gonna be talking to you all about the current state of the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm gonna be doing homework. So y'all enjoy the show. You want to say what's up to the people before I drop off?
What's up to the people before you drop off?
All right. I'll be back in a minute.
All right, I'll let you know when I'm wrapping up. So how's it going, Cowboy fans? We're just going to kind of get some updates here on what we kind of see. You starting the intro or did you do it already?
We did it already.
Oh, okay. So hope everybody's doing good. We're just going to just kind of chew the fat a little bit, talk about what's going on in Cowboy world, a little bit about the Mavericks, what's happening with them. And so with the Mavericks, we all got shocked on Saturday night with the trade. And when I saw the trade, DJ, I tell you what, came out and told me about it, and I was like, that has to be. It can't be a true story. It's fake news. Basically, what I said. I didn't even really think a whole lot about it, and then I just got on Twitter world and kind of saw what was happening. And then I went to bed that night thinking, okay, when I wake up in the morning, for sure somebody's going to step in and stop the madness, which never happened. I still think Luka and AD should have shut the whole thing down by just saying that they were not going to report to the new teams, but in the contract world, the agents, nobody wants to get sued, but that's probably why they went the way that they did. So now we just gotta live with the aftershock. I still say it's pretty messed up that owner that came from Las Vegas bought the team from Mark Cuban. You got to be real careful who you sell your teams to. It should have been someone in the organization, starting with the owner and his staff, that came in and just said, it's really not a good idea with the way this is going to impact the fans. And then other people, including Cuban, he's a minority owner. So after seeing this whole event, you kind of see that for the most part, even though he is a minority owner, he really didn't have any say-so in what's going on, because you would have thought that they would have checked with all of the owners and just said, hey, what do you think about this, which didn't happen. And then the same thing should have happened with Luka's team and AD's team. They should have went public and just said, hey, we know about this trade. We see what happened, and just kind of let their feelings be known. And I think the whole thing probably would have had a chance to kind of, before they signed off and everything, before the NBA approved it. I'm still shocked that the NBA actually approved this trade. If David Stern had been the commissioner, I don't think it goes through. So, but it is what it is. We're gonna have to kind of just live with it. I see a few people that seem to know what they're talking about, that Luka doesn't have to re-sign with the Lakers. He could figure out a way to get back to the Mavericks, but you got to wonder if, the bridges are burned, and if contract-wise, what type of money we're talking about, what would they have to do, and how it would all fit. So I've seen some people saying that that's possible, but some people are saying that just no way it's possible. So we got to see how it all kind of works out. And give me one moment.
Yeah, I really can't talk about the trade. I just really can't talk about it. I'm hurt so bad. Do I sound okay?
You sound like you're in a tunnel.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, what were you saying?
Uh, I said I really can't just I really can't really deal with the trade. Do I sound better now?
A little bit. That's okay.
Yeah, so I really can't deal with the trade. I really can't think about it. Like I really can't talk about it and express how I feel about it because it's really hurtful as a fan. You want to root for the team and all, but you do root for the team, but it's just when we have a homegrown star like that, we got lucky with Dirk, and then we turn around and get lucky with Luca, and then they turn around and do something like that to the fans. It's just it's just a bad deal all the way around. And scoot up a little bit so let's make sure your green screen now works. Scoot up a little bit. But yeah, but just yeah, I can see you better now. But it's just like the Mavericks. Some people say we're going to be good for the next 2 years, maybe three. But after that, I just don't see how we could possibly be good with all the older veterans. Clay is old, AD is older, Kyrie is older. I just don't see it. And then last night when they was talking about us trading for KD, they were talking about they were going to have to give up Clay, PJ Washington, and Gafford. And so with that, that's just like I don't know, man. Nico, I don't know. He either really, really, really messed us up for a long time, or he's the smartest person on the planet. So one or the other. If we don't win the championship this year and next year, or if we don't win the championship next year, or get close to one this year, I don't see how it's possible for him to remain the Mavericks GM. And he said that he didn't want to be the GM for that much longer. He said that he's only going to be the GM for like 4 or 5 more years. So exactly what you said is accurate. It's just like you said. Somebody outside the team, outside the city, bought the team, and now they're just doing things that don't really gel well with the city. And Luka is very hurt. Luka is hurt, just like all of us. So this was major. Um, but it is what it is, and I'm gonna focus on the Cowboys now because I'm too hurt about that. So I'm gonna drop back off and let you keep going. Though, are you ready to? Are you
Yeah.
ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. All right.
So just to piggyback on that, I saw Micah's comments about Luca, and he's Micah's not happy about it also. So I think it's kind of impacting people in different ways. So it's across the board. People are just not happy with what happened, but got to just keep it moving and move on to the next thing. So back on the Cowboys, they're still finalizing the coaching staff. Really excited about the new offensive line coach. And coming from the Arizona Cardinals, I've been watching a lot of cut-ups from him this week from different content creators. And a shout out to Corrier and some of the other content creators. So the guy really knows his stuff. His running schemes are really terrific. The way he gets guys moving, and he really is sort of the new age offensive line coach, and that's kind of what the Cowboys need. They need somebody that's innovative, that's doing new things, and that's also motivating for the players as well. When you have a coach that's challenging you to step outside your comfort zone and learn something new, and it also sets up competition, I think, on the offensive line, because we need to get back into a mindset where everyone is competing for their position. That's what we had in the 90s. Nate Newton has told dozens of stories where every training camp, Jimmy approached him and told him, we brought a couple of guys in. They're here to take your job. So, what are you going to do about it? Because I'm watching you. So, and that's kind of the sort of vibe that we need to get. Marty Schottenheimer was a disciplinarian, really structured. His teams were sound. They were physical. They were big, tough. So hopefully Brian Shoddy can kind of pull from some of that experience that he had growing up around his dad. And in that first year, I'm going to be looking at our penalties, our pre-snap penalties and penalties overall, because the other thing that they credit him for is that he coaches both sides of the ball. So hopefully he can have an impact on our penalties, how we play as a team, and just cutting down on some of the mental mistakes. That right there alone would help the Cowboys out a great deal. So and we hired a special teams coach, and I still think that they're trying to finalize the actual offensive line coach. There's a lot of talk about Lunda Wells becoming the offensive line coach. They haven't actually made that move yet. There's still some talk about them bringing in an actual offensive line coach. But of course, Adam Clayton, the new offensive coordinator who came from Arizona, he's probably going to oversee what we're doing with the line. So I think they just need to finalize who the offensive line coach will be. And it could be Lunda Wells. We'll kind of see how that all shakes out. I really think that Jerry may be onto something. He may just get lucky with this coaching hiring and lucked up and hired the right coach. We're going to see, how it all plays out when they start, mini camps. And of course, this year, normally we don't spend a lot of time talking about training camp. I certainly don't. I call it the Underwear Olympics, but this will be a training camp and preseason where we probably do pay more attention, just so we can just see, how Shoddy is affecting the practices and the team. In the last couple of training camps, just watching some of the training camp highlights, a lot of people, when they watch the watch camp or even the 10 camp, they said that Shoddy stood out. You could just see that he was, heavily involved, a lot of energy. Cowboys need that also. I just kind of feel like a head coach, you got to have, a couple of things going for you. You either have to have a terrific scheme where your scheme is just so much better than everybody that your scheme just really just does a lot. Sort of like, Tom Landry was certainly that kind of coach, Bill Walsh, Shanahan. You're kind of saying that with Ben Johnson. We don't really know what he's going to be as a head coach. Kyle Shanahan. If you have a great scheme, you can just coach that way. And then the other thing you got to be is the fire and brimstone coach. That's the Jimmy Johnson, Bill Parcells, those types of coaches. And Marty Schottenheimer was that kind of coach too. And then sometimes you can just kind of be a tweener. You can be a little bit of both. And then we see that. That's what, Pete Carroll is. And so or was. And then probably the greatest coach of all time, Bill Belichick. He was a little bit of both. Just a tremendous schemes, tremendous mind. And he also coached both sides of the ball. So hopefully Shoddy is a little bit of both. He's sort of the fire and brimstone, can motivate the room, but also someone that has some schemes. Now the scheme thing, we're going to see him do that for the first time. But hopefully Jerry has gotten lucky and just picked a coach. He's due for some luck with his coaching hires, and he hasn't been very lucky with that. That's what he thought he had with Jason Garrett. Didn't pan out. I believe he was going down the road with Kellen Moore with that, and Kellen looks like he's pretty close to getting the Saints job. So we may get to see Kellen, finally get a job. And of course, so Sunday is a game. It's going to be ironic if Sunday Kellen Moore has a ring. We know Wade Phillips got one, DeMarcus Ware, all these folks that have left this culture, get rings, and that's just weird how that plays out. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's very weird. And I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not so off the wall, and it's not that weird. I mean, it is weird. And when I say weird, I'm saying that like that. I'm saying that in air quotes. You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
When I put it in air quotes and say it's weird, it's because they don't do the obvious things that you would need to do in order to win championships, and these other teams do. So it's not an OG. These people leave here and they go win championships. They leave here and they go to teams and organizations that actually put forth the effort and do new age things to get their teams over the top. Like Kellen Moore had nothing to do with them drafting. With them signing Saquon Barkley. Nothing whatsoever. As a matter of fact, a lot of people were saying that Kellen Moore, a lot of the team was saying that Kellen Moore was messing up the plays at the beginning of the season, and that AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, and they all had to get Kellen straight and tell him, no, run the ball, run the ball. You know what I mean? Like, no, stop trying to be Shanahan, and just we got this. We got a good back because our quarterback is not that good. He's not an MVP quarterback or anything. So utilize what we have, which was Saquon Barkley, and they did that. They ran him, and Saquon Barkley would not have as many yards as he had this season if he was utilized like he's been utilized this year, his whole career. And so, it's like Zeke. They utilized Saquon this year, how the Cowboys utilized Zeke when he was here, the first couple of years he was here. And so when you have that, I mean, that's Kellen Moore wasn't. He's not the brains of the organization. Howie Roseman is the brain. Howie is the one that's drafting star hit players. He's the one that's doing that. He's the one that's drafting hard. He's the one that's being aggressive. He's the one that has their salary cap figures to where all of their major players are making $1 million a year, and then they're backloading their contract. Howie Roseman is doing that, not Kellen Moore. So Howie Roseman, is his last name Roseman, right?
Yeah.
Somebody like him, he can afford to hire someone like Kellen because it's too much going on for Kellen to affect what's going on. He can hire someone like Kellen because he'll tell Sirianni. Or Sirianni, because they really have I don't want to say they don't have no effect, but their effect isn't so much that it's going to cause you to miss out on championship windows. It's going to cause your championship windows to close. And if they do have that kind of effect, he will fire them immediately. Nick Sirianni is hanging on by the thread of his chinny chin chin. If they don't win tomorrow, he still might get fired. So it's not like that. Jerry hired Kellen and let Kellen run the show. And we can't afford for that to happen. We can't afford for someone like Kellen to come in our organization because we don't have the type of structure that allows us to compete
around him. Yeah.
Right. So it's apples and oranges. Kellen, he might be a good coach. He might be a bad coach. It's really going to matter what's around him. Just like Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is a good coach, but he didn't have the structure around him to win. They didn't draft
And
correctly.
and to your point on Kellen, that's why some people are saying they don't know if this New Orleans job is a good job for him because he's not going to be in the same type of environment and have the same type of support. I will say this on Shadi's behalf. I think Shadi is better equipped to deal with what's happening here because he's been around football his entire life. Right now, for the first time, I believe, and McCarthy was the same way. But I think we got somebody in the head coaching position that's smarter than everybody in the front office. I think
What I was
he
thinking to
is.
myself? I agree with you 100%. But you know what I was saying to myself the other day, and it kind of goes along with what I've been saying, and I kind of finally got my thesis. See, Shadi, to me, the reason why Shadi is a good hire is because Shadi is not good. It's not. It wasn't hired to be the head coach. Shadi has been hired to be like the general manager. He's the one that's coming in and he's the one that's hiring coaches and hiring good coaches with good schemes. He's the one like that's changing out Mike Solari and putting him with new and improved. He's the one that went and got an offensive coordinator with a young and improved scheme that can really run the ball and do what he wants to do. He's the one that kind of, he set the tone kind of like he's a player's coach because he's just set the tone and like a general manager. It's like you would think that Will McClay would be doing what Shadi is doing, like paying attention to the analytics of the coach and paying attention to the analytics of the player. But that was Shadi last year. Shadi knows what CD and Dak needs to get the offense rolling. Shadi knows what kind of lineman coach that they need to get going. And Jerry and Steven, they trust Shadi with this information. And Shadi is just he gonna do a good job at that. See, and we all know like your one job as a head coach, you're the offensive coordinator last year, so we know this gonna be your offense or whatever offense y'all gonna run. But it's just like what we do know about Shadi is that Shadi is not gonna be stuck in his ways. If something is not working and Dak and them come to the sideline and tell Shadi this is what we need to be doing, Shadi's gonna listen and they're gonna change it because that's what he was trying to do last year, and McCarthy was stopping that. So all of that leads me to believe that he's gonna do good, and it also leads me to believe that they would not, the way that they failed so miserably this year, and they failed this year just like they fail all the time. But for this year, it was a big deal for some reason. It was just like this year, maybe it's because of the peak of the content creators, and I don't know. This year it was just like, yo, y'all, like the cover was blown almost. It was just like, this year was like a big deal. Like, yo, this is this is pretty major here that y'all that the season is going like this, and that like y'all are losing all these games and all y'all players getting hurt. And y'all lost in the playoffs last year. That was just crazy.
And I heard something today, and I've been doing this 29 year. They haven't had a. Hold on, I got to plug up my laptop. Go ahead and talk.
Yeah, it's just like this year was different, and this year it's just like they normally they always ask the Joneses these type of questions, but I ain't never heard nobody say, "Hey, y'all have a 29-year drought." I ain't never heard nobody say that. Yeah, I ain't never heard nobody say 25-year drought, 27, 28-year drought. I never heard nobody say that. And I never heard nobody say that. And so I never heard Jerry and Steven respond. Like, for instance, when he came on and he got mad at Sean and RJ. Well, he really got mad at RJ. When he got mad at RJ, we didn't see Jerry kind of pop off every now and then. We seen him pop off a couple times. But this was like, you popped off, and what RJ was saying, what Sean was saying was correct. You made a fool of yourself, and so that happened. And then it's just like you paid Dak at the beginning of the year after not doing nothing in free agency. Everybody was just stunned, like this is comical. This is comical what you're doing, and it's like the gig is up. And so I feel like they realized that. And it's kind of like, I think they're not gonna set up Shotty for failure. They're gonna change some of the things that they're doing. They're gonna have to. And I think that they are going to. I could be drinking the Kool-Aid. They might just do nothing in free agency. We've seen them do it before. So, I mean, listen, Jerry, before you talk, Jerry literally came on the air on radio and said that we were all in. He said that, and we did absolutely nothing. Like, he literally said the words all in, and then for the next off-season period, did absolutely nothing and double down on it. Like, we're not doing anything. Like, y'all don't know what y'all doing. We know what we doing. And so you gotta, I believe it when I see it, because we didn't heard this man straight up lie to the fans before. He did last year.
So what I was gonna say is, what's going to happen in the next day or so? We've been talking about 29 years, no NFC Championship game. So the anniversary is it's going to be 30 years in a few days. They're going to hit the 30th anniversary of the last time we were in an NFC Championship game. So it's going to be 30 years now. So that 30 number, you're going to start hearing that. So look, at some point they got to just turn the ship around. And in this offseason, as many players as they have that are unrestricted free agents, they're going to have to get involved in free agency. So just the fact that they're going to be doing transactions probably every day, every other day, just to fill out the roster, it's going to seem like they're kind of, turning things around. So, but it's going to be fun just watching and seeing how it all kind of plays out and how it comes together.
And remember what I told you, free agency this year is a shell of what it was last year. You're not trying to re-sign Tony Pollard. You don't have Derrick Henry moving around. You don't have Saquon out there. You don't have Joe Mixon out there. You don't have DeAndre Sweat or whatever his name is. You don't have none of them. You don't have none of the receivers that you had last year.
But where I would kind of push back a little bit, so free agency too, we kind of know the names, but free agency for a lot of teams, they don't always just sign the big name players. Free agency is just filling it, just signing good players. So what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to sign players that are not household names but are good players. So that's kind of going to be their challenge.
Well, listen, when it comes to that terrifies me, because Will McClay we don't do a good job at talent evaluation. I don't know. We don't do no good job at talent evaluation. We don't. I don't know. That terrifies me, because that means that we're not going to be getting good players, because they don't be doing good at that.
Well, they're gonna have to. They got to know right now that some of the things that they've been doing is not working. So this is where you're gonna have that rubber meets the road moment. So they're gonna have to do a better job in this offseason, because at the end of the day, what they're looking at right now, the Eagles, the Commanders, the Giants, they're moving and grooving. They're leaving you behind. And so they're either going to shape up or ship out. So, and with the content creators, you can no longer hide. So it's all out in the open now. All of your faults and your mistakes, it's being amplified. So this draft, they don't have no room. I was listening to Big Time Show. Shout out to him. And he was just talking about the fact that they have to knock it out of the park with every pick. That's what they have to do. They don't have a choice.
Yeah, no. Especially the way that they, shout out to Big Time Show, but the Cowboys got to knock it out the park by default, because they claim to be a draft and develop team. So they got to do that. Just standard. That should be the standard, and it ain't.
Yeah,
I want to look at this. No, it hasn't been. But also this year's draft, or specifically where we picking, see, that's another problem too that a lot of people don't acknowledge. We're always getting to the playoffs and getting kicked out in the first round, which leaves us picking around like 26th, something like that. And
29th, where Guyton was picked.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And you know, the year before that, it was like that with Mozzie. He was picked very, very end. So it's like that right there, that's a hard place to pick because the surefire first round picks are off the board at that point. So you really gotta dig deep in them trenches and you really gotta find athletes at that point. It's not a slam dunk. So that's why like when we pick high, we get people like Micah. When we pick high, you know, CD failed to us. You know, they had a first round grade on Trayvon Diggs, so that wasn't, that doesn't happen often. So that's another issue. It's like we always picking, but this year we picked 12, and we pick at the beginning of the other drafts. The other rounds. So it's gonna be hard to mess this up. You can literally just go to Tankathon right now, and just if you when you pick 12, you can just pick whoever is on Tankathon.
Well, they can definitely mess it up. And so what you and I are gonna do, we're gonna do a mess up mock draft. We're gonna do a draft that we believe that if these players are picked, that's what we're gonna call it. It's gonna be like a screw up draft. So they can absolutely do it. I mean, they've done it. Everyone told them to not draft Tyler Guyton. It was better players there, and they took him. So the Schoon pick, the Mozzie pick, those were now players that were slated to be picked where they were. So they can definitely. So this year, I can look on Tankathon right now and tell you how they can screw it up.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come up. That's gonna be the theme of one of our not our next show. We can do a theme. That can be the theme of our next show. I got to figure out what to name it. I want to name it something that everybody will click on it, like Cowboys messed up draft, or like this is how the Cowboys would draft, and this is how they should draft, and this is how this is how they should draft, but this is how they would draft, or something like that. This is how they should draft, but this is how they will draft, or how will they draft. But
yeah,
I want to take a look at
they can absolutely do that.
And also want to do one. I also want to do a segment or a show, and we have to start. We should start segmenting our shows. We should start segmenting them out. 10 minutes on one topic, 10 minutes on the next. So I want to do a segment on free agents, on how we can improve this team just off free agents, as if we did not have a draft. Because this is what I was saying earlier. Like, I want you to look at this and tell me. Let me see. Let me see. I want you to look at this and see this and tell me what you think. So you can see this, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
These are the free agent receivers.
This is just the top free. This is all positions. This is just how they're ranked, all positions. Now, if you got Stephon Diggs ranked number 1, he's 31 years old.
Coming off ACL.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's look at T. Higgins. Cowboys. Okay, I want Cowboy Nation to understand this too. Cowboys, they can restructure that contract. They can restructure CD contract. They can sign Micah. That they can clear up about $100 million in cap. They can go. They can sign Myles Garrett tomorrow. They can. They can flip. They can flip them switches on Dak and CD contract, and sign Micah, and have enough money to sign Myles Garrett and give him a contract. They can do that, and on top of that, they can have enough money to sign Myles Garrett and still pay all their free agents, or some of them, and still pay their draft picks. So all of this is an option. If you were the Eagles, it would be an option. Okay. So like, for instance, T. Higgins, if this was the Eagles, he would be an option. It's easy to do. It's easy to sign him. You would not break the bank. You can restructure that contract, CD contract, sign Micah. You can sign T. Higgins and give him a contract where he's making $25 million a year. It'll be just fine.
So a team like Baltimore, I mean, I think they would take a serious look at it. Not sure about the 49ers. Some of these teams, they do have to look at, what they have and where they want to spend their money. So Philadelphia, probably, I think Philadelphia is probably going to be a team that will look at Cooper Cup because they just need a solid, they don't really have a 3 or 4 receiver. They've got your guy, he's not playing a lot. But those are the kind of,
now I would
no, go
look at
ahead.
Cooper Cup myself. That's what I would look at Cooper Cup.
Well, that's a smart, efficient move to do. That's something that the Cowboys should look at. But when you trade a 4th-round pick for Mingo and you got some other guys you're looking at, but yeah, I think Cooper Cup would be someone I would absolutely look at. And also, it's affordable because the way it's panning out, the Rams are going to pay a lot of the salary, but he's probably going to end up getting cut. Just to be perfectly honest. But yeah,
And I'm gonna be he ain't. I don't know if he had a good streak a couple years ago, but he ain't been the same since he broke all them records. By the way,
he haven't. So you have to just kind of look at on your roster. If he's your 3rd or 4th receiver, especially if he's your 4th receiver, I don't think you can complain about that. But looking at your list that you have here, I just think some realistic possibilities off this list. Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper. We heard that Mike McCarthy didn't like Cooper, didn't like Amari. So I don't know. I can absolutely promise you, Shotty wouldn't have an issue with Cooper at all. So it's going to fall on Jerry and Steven at that point. Now, Chris Godwin, I'm not sure about him. And then Brandon Cooks, we're hearing that Shotty really likes Brandon Cooks. So if he can just come back and play healthy, if you draft Luther Burden or you draft one of the receivers in the 3rd round, like Trey Harris or Savion Williams, and you have Brandon Cooks there, I wouldn't complain about that. And the same would be if it was Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen. I mean, you just, I think the Cowboys, what they need to do this year is bring in a cagey veteran receiver. Man, I just love what Juju Smith-Schuster is doing with Kansas City. I mean, I think Juju, if they win Sunday, he's going to have 3 rings. I know he's got 2. And he's a guy, that's the type of player you need. You need people on your team in certain situations, certain key moments. They're going to figure out a way to make a play. That's Keenan Allen. That's Juju Smith-Schuster. Amari Cooper can do that as well. So that's what the Cowboys need. You don't need to have Jonathan Mingo and Brooks and Flanor running around out there as your 3rd and 4th receiver.
and then at this point in that career, it makes perfect sense for Amari Cooper because they got great chemistry.
Yeah, it would be perfect. So again, I think hopefully Shotty has some influence on that. But if I'm Shotty, I'm going to Jerry and Steven. I'm saying, I know you got your guys over here. They like their guys, Mingo, Tolbert. I'm telling Jerry, look, give me a cagey veteran as my 3rd receiver with our rookie that we're going to draft and let us go to work.
Who is your starting right guard next year?
My starting right guard is Hoffman. I'm glad you asked that. We got to talk about this on our next show as well. It's a lot of content creators. They're just going at it about this offensive line and skill players. But some of the content creators, they are hell bent on us getting a running back and a receiver, which I agree with. And then you have some content creators, they're just like, we got to take an offensive lineman. We got to rebuild our line. So, I think both sides, you can see the arguments for both and where they're going with the offensive line. And you got people like Vach, shout out to Vach. He's an offensive line guru. He's just basically saying that you just need to replace Guyton. And so Simmons from Ohio State, you could pick Simmons and he's your starter for the next 10 years. And he is just going to probably shut down the left side versus you picking Burden or you picking Genty and you still rolling with Guyton. And Vach says that moving him to the right is not going to be good either.
Yeah, no, I'm with that too. If you have to draft now, now this is my thing because this is how I'm rocking with that. I like both. I like both sides of the argument. I would absolutely take Simmons, and I would be fine with that.
Well,
But
Simmons is gonna be there.
well, listen. This is my deal. I would be fine with that. But see, I'm not running the Cowboys, and the reason why I would be fine with that is because I would go trade for a running back or draft. Well, I would make sure I draft a running back in the second round, and then I would trade for another receiver, or I make sure I draft a receiver in the third round, or I would trade for one, or I would get one in free agency. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave no stone unturned. I would get all of that. It's the same way, vice versa. If I take Genty, I would just go sign one of these guys to play my guard or my tackle. This guy right here, Cam Robinson, he's 29. He came from Minnesota. He played left tackle. I would sign him. Simple as that. He'd be my left tackle.
You got Will Hernandez out there, and he's an older guy, very, very cagey, very feisty. Remember him, right? He played for the Giants. So he played for the coach that we got from Arizona. He's played for him.
Yeah,
So
I seen that on Bleacher Report.
So
yeah, let's just look at the offensive line and see who's out here. See what I'm saying? Look at all these people. I would pay some of these guys. I would pay somebody to dang, Tyron Smith gonna be a free agent? He's still playing?
Yeah, Tyron needs to retire. Zach Martin needs to retire too. He's talking about maybe thinking about coming back, but no, where we started, if my right guard is Hoffman, I'm completely fine. And this is the other argument that the content creators are running, getting into it with each other, but not getting into it, just having family disagreements, which is fine. That's the thing about content creators. We can disagree. It's all good in the game. But with Brock Hoffman, with BB, what they're saying is that we got to get out of this mindset where we have to have an all-star, 5-star player at every lineman position. We can't have Larry Allen, and we can't have Zach Martin in his prime. We can't have, the Pro Bowl center. We can't have across the board. We can't keep drafting linemen every year at the top of the draft until we get that perfect line. At some point, you got to just draft some guys like Hoffman, like BB, like Tyler Smith, and just let them play. And what's happening is a lot of the teams that are having success in the league, they're not taking number one picks at every position. They're just taking guys, and they're just like the coach that we have. He can turn this line that we have currently into a good line. So people are saying we don't need to invest in the line again. But Simmons, he puts you in a position where you might have to take him.
Well, yeah, and now on top of that, but also think about it like this. We don't, as content creators, I know me myself, we don't even know who the rest of these linemen are in the NFL until it's time for us to build it, or if it's time for us to trade for one of them. We don't even know who I can't tell you who. I can name you one. Maybe I can name you one. I can name you the best lineman on each team. I get close to that. But other than that, I only know the whole.
Well, what the debate is, the debate that they're having is not so much that they know about the players. What the debate is, on one side of the argument, they're saying that we need to just keep drafting linemen till we get just an outstanding, till we get great players. We need to find top linemen and just draft them. And then the other side of the argument is, we can take linemen in the third and fourth round. We can take guys like Hoffman. We can take guys like, that we've had over the years, and just get a good coach, and the line will be great. So that's what the argument is.
I'm on that side of the argument, because I put it like this. You can't just draft linemen all the time, because you might
every year. And they're talking about where they're taking the line, and they want us. The people on that argument, they're saying we should spend a first round pick as much as we can to build a line.
Here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. You could do that if you're running the organization, but you can't do that if Jerry, Steven, and Will McClay is running the organization, because they just now getting a good offensive line coach. They've been running around with dinosaur Mike Solari. That's number one.
The other reason you don't do it, I'm gonna let you get to your second point. The other reason you shouldn't do that is because you're kind of drafting for need, and when you just target need in a draft, you're leaving other players on the board that are better. So that's the main reason you don't want to do
That's
that.
number two, and then number three, you end up with people like Guyton and Mozzie in the first round. Yeah. So it's just like, yo, how many times? You know, it's like if we did that as much as possible, we would have like every 3 years maybe we get a good lineman.
But yeah, you got to look at who you drafting to. And I was listening to the draft show on Cowboys.com, and Voch was on there, and they made a good point today. So Voch and the other guy, the host, I can't remember his name, they had Tyler Guyton as an 8th and 9th ranked lineman on their board. So how did he get drafted by the Cowboys?
The same way that Luke Schoonmaker and they had the same way that the Cowboys had Luke Schoonmaker as a 5th round.
Voch had Guyton in the second round, and when I say second round, it wasn't like, the second round starts at the 33rd pick. He didn't have Tyler Guyton as a 33rd ranked player. He was like
had him in the second round too.
Yeah, so that's the danger you have when you just go into a draft and you just say we need to draft linemen, because there's a possibility you're not taking the best player. So, but Simmons.
This is what I was saying too. Yeah, now that's why I'm gonna get into that. This is also why I'm saying that Jerry and Steven and Will McClay, they're being forced to do work, because like they're at 12 and we're at 12, and so you're gonna get a good player at 12. You got in this draft, you got like 8 or 9 people to pick from, but you got to pick the best one out of that 8 or 9. So you're gonna have to pick between, you might have to pick between, and you might have to pick between Genty. Genty not gonna be there, but
yeah,
I'm just saying.
Either. Saquon, you might have to pick Saquon. The way Saquon is playing, he's improving Genty's value. So like Sunday, if Saquon is already balled enough, but if Saquon has a great game Sunday, Genty will not be there at 12.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna have a hot take real quick. And I was saying this about Jahmyr Gibbs, and I'm gonna say this now. Omarion Hampton, Quinshawn Judkins, Travion Henderson, they gonna all be gone in the second round when we pick. They gonna get picked in the first round.
And we picked pretty high in the second round. One of them, they
gonna be gone before we pick.
You think so?
Well, maybe a few of them gonna be, but number 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're gonna be gone.
Yeah, I think if the Cowboys want a receiver and a running back, they're gonna have to. The running back probably is gonna have to be first or second round. A receiver, I still think Trey Harris or Savion Williams, someone like that, will be there in the third round. But the running backs, I agree, they're gonna move up the board. So that's especially
you're gonna have to pick. You're gonna have to pick a receiver, and it's gonna have to be like Luther. No, it's gonna be like Ibuka.
And if they trade down from 12 to 16 or 12 to 17, I think they can still get Ibuka. And I would be another dark horse for me. I wouldn't be upset if they draft Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State. I wouldn't be.
Yeah, that's a dream scenario for me too.
And then your guy Mason Graham, if he's there, So yeah, they really can't screw up the pick, but man, they do goofy stuff.
Man, if they get Mason Graham,
pull up Tankathon right quick. Then we're gonna wrap.
If they can get Mason Graham, they gonna have an A draft. But see, we saying all of this, but we just not have to understand too that the way we're saying this, we still gonna utilize free agency.
Well, yeah, we hope that they do. But
we would is what I'm saying.
They're gonna have to use free agency because they gotta fill a lot of spots. But what I'm gonna do when you pull up Tankathon, we're gonna look at the players that probably will be there at 12 and should be around 12. I'm gonna go down to 22 or 24, and I'm gonna pick a player that they will take at 12 that shouldn't even be there. So
Let me see. Let me get it. Let me get it
that's
on
the
up
draft
here.
order, yeah.
So let's do the mock draft. Let me do the mock draft, boy. Okay, so here we go.
So where do they have Nick Gordon going?
19.
So a dark horse for them to pick at 12, and he's at 19. They'll get to 12, and it'll be somebody there like Mason Graham or
Josh
Simmons
Timmons.
or Burton. Where Burton going?
Kenneth Grant.
What they'll do, what Stephen Jones and Will McClay, they will take Nick Gordon at 12. Okay, now go down past Nick Gordon. Who's below him?
Luther Burden.
I think Luther Burden and Ibuka are better than where they are. So who is Benjamin Morrison? He's a linebacker.
He's a cornerback from Notre Dame.
So go back to the list. Okay, so see Shamar Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go to 12 and they'll pick somebody like Shamar Stewart, and people will be going, where did they get this pick from? How did they have him rated that high? This is what they do. Go back up a little bit. Josh Connerly. We gotta figure out who on this list that's rated much lower than 12. They will pick that player. That's kind of what they do. But yeah, if they screw it up this year, then it's just really, really crazy. Colston Loveland, what does he play? Go back up.
Colston, he's a tight end out of Michigan. Oh Lord,
okay, they're not gonna take a tight end. I got my eye on Nick Gordon. I think the pick at 12 for the Cowboys, it'll be some better players there. They will take Gordon. And then they'll come in and say blah blah blah. And then when training camp start,
he won't even be ready to play.
Yeah, Sam Williams, Micah, Nealon.
They're gonna be starting over him.
And then they'll be saying, well, he needs 2 or 3 years to develop. When we're gonna come back and say, you could have took Josh Simmons, you could have took Burton, you could have took Ibuka. Mike Green is getting a lot of play. I'm not even sure if Mike Green is gonna make it down to 17. Now, Mike Green, based on what we know, if they took him at 12, I wouldn't have any complaints.
I mean, like I said, like you said, anybody right up in here, I wouldn't have a complaint except Malachi Starks. But Tyler Warren,
they'll go outside the list and take somebody.
Grant, Mike Green.
And then in the second round, you better watch out because they do a lot of goofy stuff with their second round picks. They do some stuff that you're just saying to yourself, what in the world happened?
They go 3 or 4 rounds back.
This pick right here at 44 for them, I've been looking at this like every day this week. This is the first time I've seen him there, and this would not be a good pick. No.
Are you watched him already?
No, I'm just saying I haven't seen him there, but this wouldn't be a good pick in the second round.
No, it wouldn't be.
So
he don't even look like
go back to the board.
Look at that. He
Yeah, so but here's the thing. This is what we're saying. You're looking at all the players there that are just terrific prospects. They will absolutely take that lineman we just looked at. They'll do it. They've done it before.
They would probably take Isaiah Thomas.
Well, who did we take in the first? Who did we take on Tankathon?
They got us take Gentry. He's not gonna be there, but
so if we had Gentry, them. Yeah, in this scenario right here, if we took Gentry and these players were available, go back up. Yeah, we would take Jahai Campbell. We would take well, we're not going to take Hampton.
TJ Sanders.
What's his name? Wanye Thomas' brother would be Xavier Watts would be a player that they would take. They probably would take. That's going to be a tough choice between Watts and Thomas. So Thomas
They're
is
gonna take his brother. They're gonna take Wanye brother. And
but
I
just
want them to take Wanye brother.
but look at what we're saying. You got a choice between Xavier Watts, Azariah Thomas, however you pronounce his name, Trey Harris is there, but go back up. They'll pass on Trey Harris. They'll pass on, and they'll take the guy we got on the list right there. That's the kind of stuff they do.
This is an unpopular opinion, but I like Jalen Milroe.
I don't.
I would take him right there.
I wouldn't.
Man, this dog, he a dog, man. He a dog. He a dog.
I would take him if I had a fourth round pick. I would take him in a fourth.
He's not gonna be there in the fourth. That's the type of stuff that play that he just had. That's the type of stuff he do like on game to game basis. He'll just take off.
Let me say this.
Look at this.
Yeah. Let me say this. The kind of stuff they do in the second round, if they took him, I would be okay with it because they do a lot of goofy stuff in the second round.
I mean, I'm just saying he would be. A lot of people, he underrated. A lot of people don't like him, but he gonna be good in the NFL. That's my opinion. My opinion is he gonna translate good in the NFL.
Let me say this. I'm not questioning his talent. What I'm saying is I wouldn't take him in a second. If I had a third round, an extra 3 or extra 4, I would take him.
I want my quarterback to do what I want my quarterback to do this. I want my quarterback to be able to do this right here.
I mean, I see what you're saying.
I mean,
with our history in the second round, I'm just gonna keep repeating myself. With our history in the second round, if we took Jalen Milroe, I would be like, we got away with one because they just do goofy stuff in the second round, and they don't take players like this.
We got to give we got to give him his credit when I know, and I know you are, but I'm just saying like come on, he gonna be doing this stuff in the NFL. This stuff right here, he gonna be doing in the NFL.
Somebody's gonna draft him, and they're gonna get a good player, and then we're gonna just kind of see how it pans out. I don't think the Cowboys can take him in the second round.
Nah, we can't, but I would if I was. That's why I said if I was running a team, I would. And a lot of people not gonna agree with me, but that's what I would do.
And let me say this too. We got to look at what we've done the last couple of years in the draft. We're so behind the A-ball in the draft. You can't take a chance on somebody like that in the second round because we're trying to make up for our last 2 drafts that haven't really been good.
Yep, that's right.
So you ready to go ahead and wrap?
Yeah, we can wrap.
Man, I like the player. I just wouldn't take him at 2.
Yeah, man. I want him on my team, but Savion, I gotta have him on my team. I gotta have. If Egbuka is there, Luther, I gotta take them. It wouldn't be no hard decision either. I would take Luther all the way. I would just take Luther. If Genty's there, I'm taking Genty. In the second round,
I think what they're gonna do, I think your first round pick, I think they're gonna get a good player. We're just hoping that they don't screw it up. And then I think what they're gonna do, they're gonna trade down in the second round. So some of these mock drafts that we've been doing with trade down, we need to start doing them with the second round trade down because that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, because they gotta make up for the fourth round.
Yeah,
they gotta pick 4th round picks. So so we got the Super Bowl coming up this weekend, y'all. So everybody make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And we finna pay attention to the Super Bowl, see if Kellen gonna get a ring or not.
So we're gonna do a thing. We're gonna do something Saturday night because that show we did Saturday did really good.
Yeah, so we're gonna go live Saturday night and talk about the pregame Super Bowl Sunday, and we can talk about some more things or whatever is on our mind. Really,
I think I'm gonna give you some. I'm gonna give you some OG Super Bowl stories.
Yeah, we want to hear about Candlestick and all that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we want to hear about that, and I got the photos too, so I could post them photos. I could post them photos on while you telling the stories. I could post them photos of when you went to the NFC Championship, when you was back there with Roger Staubach and in the tunnel.
Yeah, we might have to do a whole nother show on that, but I can give you some other Super Bowl stories.
So yeah, y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. We hanging in there. I was devastated with the Mavericks news. I kind of am still. I've never been hurt that bad as a fan, probably ever. I don't really think I can think of anything that can compare to the way I felt this last week. Can't think
Well,
of
people were
anything.
talking about their sports uh, disasters or whatever you call it. So they got
Devastation.
the Romo the drop Seattle thing, and the
Promo fumble.
Dez catch was number one or number two for most
Well,
people.
for me, I'll tell everybody for real. Like for me, the Dez catch, I really almost had a heart attack. That's how. That's how. Like I really almost had a
Oh
heart attack.
man,
Like I was hyperventilating. My my heart
now
was
we was
like
over Uncle Earl's watching that. Where were you?
I was at home by myself at the apartment that I had in Carrollton by
Then
myself.
then the other one was the 2016 game when Aaron Rodgers, hit that tight end on that 3rd and 20. Was it 3rd and 30 or 3rd and 21?
Yeah, 3rd and 31 or something like that. 3rd and 21, something crazy.
Now
Byron Jones,
The OGs for me.
the catch.
Well, no, I'm gonna go before that. Super Bowl 13 was my first one. Steelers and the
Mhm.
Cowboys. That's still to me the best Super Bowl ever played. It was 35-31. And Jackie Smith dropped a touchdown. It was, that was the game right there. And then
Yeah, yeah.
the catch would be next. I was a senior in high school. And
Mm.
Cowboys actually, they had the better team, but the thing that really decided their game, they played the game at Candlestick. If they had played that game at Texas Stadium, Cowboys win that game. You're at 6 Super Bowls already right now. And then let's see, I probably would go with the Dez catch next. But on
Man,
my
that was hurt.
list, of things that I had was when Dez got released. I felt the same way about this Luka thing when the Cowboys released Dez. I mean, I didn't hyperventilate, but I will say I'm a third generation Cowboy fan. I didn't even really watch the games the next season. I like the games would be on, and I didn't even care because I just the way they did this, that just knocked me out. So
Yeah,
that was
that was.
mine. That's up there for me.
Yeah, and then too, and how they came about. It was like that for me too because the way that they talked about how
Yeah.
it was done and how
Well,
player vote.
they held him over, didn't let him get a chance to go to free agency, and I do you
Then
one
how he
better.
rebounded. Then how he
Yeah.
bounced. Then how he rebounded. That hurt my soul too because he could have took the deal with Baltimore, and he didn't. And then he tore his Achilles, and that just crushed my soul.
Well, the weird thing is that he signed with the Saints,
He
and
signed with the Saints. Yeah.
if he signed with the Saints, if he doesn't tear his Achilles, he's on that team. I believe the Saints win the Super Bowl because when they were in the playoffs, they had that bad call when that interference happened,
Yeah.
and the Rams beat them. And remember
Stephon
that
Diggs.
Rams team,
No, the
the Rams
Vikings beat
beat
them.
them. No, it was the
Yeah,
Rams on that bad call.
the
It was
pass
the
interference
Rams.
call.
It was the Rams.
Okay.
And so that Saints team, if they had won that game, which they should have won, they would have played New England in the Super Bowl. The Saints would have beat them because the Rams, they couldn't score. They scored. I think they had 3 points to end the game. So
Yeah, in the Super Bowl.
yeah, but the Saints would
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
beat the Patriots, and Dez would have been on that team. He would have
That's
been
so sad.
playing.
That's
So
so sad.
to me, that was up there. So people are saying if the Mavericks trade for KD, which I don't think that's happening, and they
Why he
win,
going to the Heat?
no, that's Jimmy Butler.
No, he's going. No, they were saying that KD was going to the Heat.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, they said he was going to Miami, and they said it was
Okay,
either going to be Miami or OKC. And I said if he go to OKC, it's a wrap. It's over. But they
wait,
said that he going to Miami.
I've been looking at my phone, but OKC is probably a wrap already. But where I was going with that, uh, if the Mavericks had ended up getting KD, I'm still not feeling the Mavericks, and I'm going back to when Dez was released. They traded for Amari Cooper. I wasn't feeling Amari Cooper. because the way they did there. So I didn't care if they got Amari Cooper. I just wasn't off into it. So
I
yeah,
don't care.
this has been
I
like
ain't
a
into
really messed up deal for Mavericks fans and kind of going back to some of our disastrous outcomes for our team. So this is another reason why when you buy a team in a community in an area like this and you don't know better and you pull some crap like this, you don't understand the city, you don't understand the fans, you don't understand Cowboy fans or Mavericks fans and vice versa. You don't understand the history of this city and the kind of things. We've had some championships. We've also had some things that didn't go our way. And you coming in from Vegas and you pull a stunt like this, you don't really know the history of the city or the organizations here.
You don't know what we've been through to get to this point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't even understand what Dirk meant to the franchise. You don't understand. You don't buy a team and Dirk Nowitzki is like your ambassador, and you pull a move like this on the next.
That's why I said on Bleacher Report today. I said all of these Maverick fans that says life goes on, they wouldn't even be Mavericks fans if Dirk would have got traded in 04 and 05.
Yeah, the majority of Mavericks fans are not saying life goes on.
No, the majority. That's why I said the fans that are saying that. It's just like, how would y'all feel if they traded Dirk? Like,
a lot of people saying life goes on. I'm talking about it's probably like 95-5.
Yeah. It is. It's like 95-5. 5. It might not even be that. It might be like 97-3. But I'm just saying, it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't. I don't remember anything like this. And it's just like, we have a very good chance of not being good for a very long time. It's going to be like 90s basketball. It's going to be like 90 Mavericks basketball again. It's a chance that might happen. So, I was thinking today while I was driving to school, I was just like, man, what if they made it to where in order for you to purchase a team, it has to be somebody from the local area. Now, you got people in like Utah, people like in like Kansas that they ain't got no billionaires, I'm sure.
That's not going to happen. But also a part of that is if you're selling a team, that's kind of like you got to be a good steward and sell the team to somebody like, Don Carter sold the team to Mark Cuban. He kind of knew what we were getting into. And
Tech Tramp sold it. Or not Tech Tramp. What's his name? Sold it. Jerry, and he kind of understood Jerry. Now people didn't like Jerry, but
they still don't. Yeah,
right. But he was from Arkansas, and he kind of just. But with the things that he did when he first came, like hiring Jimmy, firing Tom Landry was like catastrophic. But like, hiring Jimmy, going on the 3.
But just think about what you're saying. Just think about what you just said.
Yeah.
As bad as Jerry and his regime has messed up. Mm-hmm. It pales in comparison to what Nico just did.
I swear, it ain't even no comparison. Jerry ain't never did nothing like this.
No, it's pretty bad. Now I would say cutting Dez because Dez had a cult following. He had a lot of fans that were like, there's a lot of Dez fans that feel the same way that we do about Luka.
Well, we got to understand also that Jerry and Dez was their own entity, their own thing. Jerry would
have kept Dez. Yeah, Jerry would have kept Dez. To be fair, it was Steven.
Exactly. That's why I said so. Jerry felt about Dez how we did, and Romo. So,
but they didn't trade Dez at the peak of his powers either, like Luka.
No one has ever done anything like this in NBA or NFL history.
No.
This has never happened because it's only a few players that you can equate Luka to. You have to talk about Michael Jordan. You have to talk about LeBron. You have to talk about Kobe. You have to talk about players like that.
Or in their prime, yeah.
In their prime,
and even in their later years, you don't trade a Michael Jordan. You don't trade a Kobe. I was thinking about this today, and we're gonna wrap. So Red Auerbach was the legendary owner of the Boston Celtics. And so the Boston Celtics, they had like some heated rivalries with the Sixers and the Lakers. The three teams back in our day, it was the Sixers, the Lakers, and the Celtics. They were like just going at it for forever. I mean, every year. It would have been like the Celtics getting Larry Bird in his prime and trading Larry Bird to the Sixers or the Lakers. That's how bad this is. Same thing. You traded him to the Lakers, Luka. Now it would have been worse if you had traded him to Oklahoma City, but probably not a whole lot worse than what we did. And then the thing about it is, you didn't talk to any other teams.
Could have got a haul.
You could have got Zion, and you could have got Brandon Ingram and some picks. You know, you could have called Oklahoma. You could have called OKC. They would have had a discussion with you. What you would have probably ended up doing.
Not even better. You could have called Phoenix.
Yeah, you could have called Phoenix, and you still would have got an older player. Could you have gotten Devin Booker and KD? It's possible, but he didn't even call him.
And on top of that, even if you are going to trade him to the Lakers, you could have got like multiple first round picks from them to still be active in free agency now before the deadline.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. The Lakers didn't really have anything to make a trade. AD for Luka, they shouldn't even been one of the options. And honestly, they probably could have got AD without even trading Luka. They could have got AD and kept Luka.
Yeah, seriously, they could have. So
let's go ahead and wrap.
They could have done that. You know, Luka's supposed to be untouchable. This is just, you know, and then to make matters worse, when we go ahead and wrap, he just bought a $15 million home like 2 weeks ago, just got married, just had his first child, and y'all just took $140
Now, some people are saying, I don't know if you heard this, some people are saying that he can opt out of re-signing with the Lakers, and it's a possibility he could come back to Dallas. But under that scenario,
heard the possibility part, but I heard that, but it is true. He don't have to sign with the Lakers. It's not an opt out. It's not an opt out. I mean, it's not a. He don't have to sign with them, no.
But I think for him to come back to Dallas, it would have to be some strings attached that might make it difficult. It's not impossible, but if Nico is not, Nico would definitely have to go. So if Nico is not here, so maybe we can just hang our head on this possibility of returning. It's not likely, but we can keep the light on and see what's going to happen.
Well, I know if they don't win a championship, even if they did win a championship this year, I wouldn't care. But
I told you, if the Cowboys had won a Super Bowl that year they traded Dez, I would have just been over in the corner, just, hey, nice job.
Yeah,
that's how I felt.
Yeah. That's how I'm feeling now. They win a championship this year. Well, first of all, I'm not watching no more games this year. So if they do have go deep in the playoffs and win a championship, that's just great. And if they they really hurt the city with that right there.
My prediction is the Lakers, I don't think they're gonna go far. I think the Mavericks will probably go further. I don't know if they got enough to go all the way. They're gonna it's gonna be hard, but
I think the Luka gonna be the face of the NBA.
Oh yeah, he is.
And we'll probably be like in no man's land in 3 or 4 years with Nico
won't be here.
And Nico won't be here, and it'll be like nothing ever happened. It'll be like we never even had Luka. So, but yeah, we gonna wrap on that note, y'all. So y'all make sure y'all comment, like, and subscribe, and make sure you can if you stay with us this long, get our likes up, please. We need our likes, and we need our views, we need our shares. So can y'all please hit the like button, and y'all please leave us a comment, and make sure that you subscribe. We still hovering around 133 followers. So make sure that if you watch the video, if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And make sure you follow us on Facebook. Make sure you follow us on TikTok. Make sure you follow us on all platforms. And it's all the same as Gen2Gen Cast. On Instagram, it's that on Twitter. No, we don't have a Twitter. It's that on Instagram. It's that on Facebook. So y'all make sure y'all follow us. And Make sure y'all comment, like, and subscribe. And we'll be back with y'all on Saturday night. We're going to do our Saturday Night Live. And we'll kind of reconvene and talk about whatever is in the news cycle. So y'all stay tuned. So we'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.